Layara came from a distant star system. Her people lived in a world of quiet forests and calm winds. They spoke in soft tones and believed that harmony meant silence. For them, sound was sacred, but only when it was soft and pure. Loudness was seen as dangerous, even violent. From the time she was young, Layara was told that human music was a weapon of chaos. Stories spread across the galaxy that Earthlings use sound to break spirits and control emotions. She never thought she would see it herself, but destiny placed her on a path she could not escape. Liara was chosen as part of a cultural exchange with Earth. It was meant to show trust and cooperation between her people and the humans. She was nervous but curious too. Her teachers warned her again and again, "Do not let human music touch your ears." They told her it would damage her mind. They told her it would feel like thunder exploding inside her skull. Yet she still agreed to go. Somewhere inside her, she wanted to see if the stories were true. The first day on Earth was already overwhelming. The cities were alive with sounds. Engines roared in the streets. Vendors called out in markets. Children laughed loudly in parks. For Liara, every sound felt heavy. She tried to hide her discomfort, but her large alien eyes kept darting from one noise to another. Humans around her smiled warmly, but she only felt fear. She thought, if this is only the city, then what is their music like? That evening, she was invited to a human gathering. It was something called a concert. She did not understand the meaning, but the humans looked excited. One girl her age explained that a famous rock band would be playing. Liara froze at the word rock. Her mind went back to the old warnings from her teachers. Human rock is the loudest, most dangerous form of music, they had said. Her heart began to pound. Her instincts told her to, refuse, but she could not disappoint her new hosts. The concert hall was huge, filled with thousands of humans. Bright lights flashed across the stage. The air was electric, buzzing with energy. Liara's thin hands trembled as she covered her sensitive ears. But even through her palms, she felt the vibration of the crowd cheering. The humans beside her shouted in joy, waiting for the first sound. Liara whispered to herself, "This will destroy me." Then it happened. The band stepped onto the stage, their instruments shining under the lights. The crowd screamed. The first guitar note struck like lightning. Liara's body jumped. Her heart nearly stopped. She thought her ears would shatter. Her teacher's warnings echoed in her head. But then something unexpected happened. She did not collapse. She did not bleed. Instead, she felt a strange shiver run down her spine. It was not pain, but something else, something she could not name. Her fear grew stronger, yet her curiosity grew with it. Each drum beat shook the floor. Each guitar chord burned through the air. But the humans were not afraid. They were laughing, smiling, even crying with joy. She could not understand it. How could noise bring happiness? Why did chaos make them dance? Her alien eyes widened as she watched their faces. It was as if the sound gave them life. And in that moment, Liara wondered, could I feel it too? She stayed frozen in her seat, hands still pressed against her ears. But through the small gaps between her fingers, the music still entered. Her heart raced faster, not with fear, but with something else. A spark, a question, a possibility. Maybe the humans were right, maybe her people were wrong, but she was not ready to admit it yet. She would not surrender so quickly to Earth's madness. The concert ended after what felt like an eternity. The humans cheered and clapped, their voices echoing aye. In the hall, Liara sat still, pale and shaken. She had survived, but her mind was restless. The warnings of her people fought against the reality she had just seen. The music had not destroyed them, it had lifted them, and deep inside her, though she tried to ignore it, a tiny part of her wanted to hear it again. That night, she could not sleep. The echoes of the guitar haunted her dreams. She woke up with her heart pounding. She remembered the way the humans had moved together, their joy shining like a fire. For the first time in her life, Liara felt that silence was not enough. Something inside her was changing, but she was too afraid to name it, and so her journey with Earth's music had only just begun. Liara sat in her room, staring at the walls. The silence of the alien embassy felt safe, but also heavy. Her ears still remembered the thunder of the human concert. She had expected pain, maybe even death, but instead she had felt something she could not explain. That mystery gnawed at her heart. She told herself it was only fear, yet deep inside, she knew it was more. The next morning, Ethan, A young human student assigned as her guide came to visit. He smiled brightly, holding something in his hands. It was a small, strange device with wires. Liara tilted her head, her alien eyes narrowing. "What is that?" she asked, her voice sharp. Ethan laughed. "These are headphones. They let you listen to music privately." Liara stepped back, her skin glowing faintly with alarm. "No," she said firmly. "Your music is dangerous." But Ethan only shook his head. If it was dangerous, how could millions of us survive it every day? His words struck her like a blade. She had no answer. Her people always warned her, but none of them had lived among humans. Maybe the stories were lies, or maybe the truth was hidden. Ethan placed the headphones gently on the table. He didn't push, he didn't force. He only said, "When you are ready, try it. One song will not harm you." Then he left, his footsteps fading into the corridor. Liara stared at the head. Phones for hours. They seemed to whisper to her, daring her. Her mind told her to throw them away, but her heart whispered something different. At last, she reached out with trembling fingers. The device was warm from Ethan's touch. She slipped the headphones over her head, but she did not press play. Her breath quickened, her pulse raced. She imagined the sound waiting inside like a storm. She tore them off, shaking her head violently. "No," she muttered. "Not yet." That night, she wandered through the human city alone. Lights flashed from tall buildings, voices echoed from crowded streets. But then she heard it again. Music. Not from a stage this time, but from a small street corner. A man sat with a guitar, his fingers moving gently over the strings. The sound was soft, calm, yet filled with emotion. Liara froze, her chest tightening. This was not the chaos of the concert. This was something different, something almost alive. She hid in the shadows, watching the human play. Children gathered around, clapping their hands. The melody flowed like water, soothing yet powerful. Liara felt her body sway without her permission. Her heart ached, and tears filled her eyes. Why did this sound make her feel so much? Why did it not hurt? Her people said human music was poison, but this felt like medicine. The guitarist looked up and noticed her in the shadows. He smiled and nodded as if inviting her closer. Liara panicked and turned away. Her steps quickened, but her mind stayed behind with the music. She could still hear it echoing in her ears. It was like a seed planted inside her. She could not escape it now. Back at the embassy, she sat on her bed in silence. But this silence was no longer comforting. It felt empty, like a hollow void. Her fingers brushed the headphones again, her breath shivered, her eyes closed. "Just one note," she whispered, but again she stopped, too afraid to press play. The next day, Ethan returned. He saw her pale face and restless eyes. "You heard it again, didn't you?" he asked gently. Liara stiffened, but she could not lie. "Yes," she admitted, "on the street it was soft and it did not hurt." Ethan's smile grew wider. "That is because music is not meant to hurt, it is meant to heal." Liara shook her head furiously. "No, my people said it destroys the mind." Ethan leaned closer, his voice calm but strong. "Or maybe it frees the mind." Her breath caught in her throat. Those words cut deep. She wanted to deny them, but part of her believed. Suspense wrapped around her like chains. What if everything she had been taught was a lie? What if humans had discovered a power her people feared? What if music was more than sound? It was strength, a strength she had felt but refused to accept. That night, she made a decision. Her hands trembled as she picked up the headphones again. This time, she whispered, "I will know the truth." Her finger hovered over the play button. Her heart thundered in her chest. The silence around her felt heavy, waiting, and when she pressed the button, the first gentle note of a song filled her ears. Her eyes widened, her body stiffened. The sound entered her soul like light breaking through darkness. And in that moment she realized there was no turning back. The first note still echoed inside Liara long after it ended. She had pressed the play button and expected chaos. She had braced herself for pain and destruction, but instead the sound was gentle, warm, alive. It wrapped around her like sunlight breaking through clouds. Her hands trembled as she ripped the headphones away. Her breath came in short gasps. What was that? She whispered to herself. Why did it feel so beautiful? But fear still clung to her heart. Her people's warnings roared in her mind. Do not let human music touch you, they had said. It will break your spirit. It will twist your thoughts. Liara clenched her fists, her alien markings glowing faintly. She wanted to believe the warnings, yet her body told a different story. She had not been broken. She had been awakened. The next morning, Liara walked through the city with Ethan by her side. She avoided his eyes, afraid he would see the storm inside her. Ethan spoke cheerfully about human life, about school, about family. But Liara barely listened. Her ears searched for something else. Somewhere in the distance, faint music drifted through the streets, her steps slowed, her breath caught. It was only a street musician again, a soft tune on a violin, yet it pulled at her heart like a thread. She could not stop staring. Ethan noticed her frozen stance. You hear it again, don't you? He asked softly. Liara turned away, ashamed. Yes, she admitted in a whisper. And it calls to me. Ethan smiled gently, because music speaks to everyone, no matter where they are from. Liara shook her head violently. No, it cannot, it should not. My people say it is poison. But her voice lacked strength. Her own words betrayed her. That night, Liara could not sleep again. The silence of her room felt heavy, suffocating. Every corner whispered the same haunting truth. She wanted more. Her trembling hands reached for the headphones once again. Her heart pounded in her chest. This time, she pressed play and did not stop. A soft melody filled her mind, growing brighter with every note. Her eyes widened, tears welled up. The sound carried feelings she had no words for. It was sorrow and joy, pain and hope, all woven together. Her chest tightened as if the music touched something hidden inside her soul. She clutched the headphones and gasped. It was too much, yet not enough. She wanted to push it away, but she wanted to drown in it too. The war inside her grew stronger. Her fear told her to resist. Her heart begged her to surrender. At last, she tore the headphones off again, her hands shaking, her reflection in the glass. Window stared back at her. Her alien eyes were wide, glowing faintly. She whispered, "What is happening to me?" The following day, a messenger from her people contacted her. Through the holographic screen, an elder's face appeared stern and cold. "We have heard troubling reports," the elder said. "Humans claim you have been near their music." Liara stiffened, her throat dry. The elder's voice grew sharper. "Remember, child, our survival depends on silence. Sound is danger, music is corruption." Liara bowed her head, pretending obedience, but her hands trembled behind her back. She wanted to scream, to argue, but fear chained her tongue. After the call ended, Ethan found her sitting alone, pale and silent. He asked softly, "What did they say?" Liara whispered, "They told me to stay away. They said music is corruption." Ethan crouched beside her, his eyes steady. "And what do you believe?" he asked. Liara's lips parted, but no words came out. Her chest heaved as tears threatened to fall. Finally, she whispered, "I do not know, but when I hear it, I feel alive, and when I hide from it, I feel empty." Ethan placed a hand over hers, his voice strong. "Then maybe the truth is not what they told you. Maybe the truth is what you feel." Liara's heart twisted. Her people's warnings and Ethan's words clashed like fire and water, but in that moment she realized she could no longer run from the sound. Music was inside her now, and it was changing her. That night, she made a vow to herself. She would discover the truth with her own ears, not with the warnings of her people, not with the comfort of silence. Her trembling hands lifted the headphones again. This time she pressed play and did not stop. The song rose, powerful and endless. Her heart raced, her breath caught, her tears fell, and deep inside, a new strength awoke. It was frightening, it was beautiful, it was unstoppable. Liara's secret was becoming too heavy to carry. Every night she listened to human songs in the dark. Every morning she told herself it would be the last time. But the truth was clear. She was addicted. The music was alive inside her, and it would not let her go. Her people's voices haunted her. The elder's warning echoed. Music corrupts, it destroys. But when Liara closed her eyes, she remembered the warmth of melodies. She remembered how her chest tightened, not from pain but from joy. And she remembered the humans smiling, free, unbroken. Her fear was changing into hunger. She wanted to understand more. One evening, Ethan appeared with a spark in his eyes. He had been waiting for this moment. He placed a small box on the table. Inside it was a pair of sleek black headphones connected to a device. "This," he said with pride, "is not just any song. It is a masterpiece." Liara frowned, her alien eyes narrowing. "I cannot, Ethan," she whispered. "If my people discover this, they will call me a traitor." Ethan leaned closer, his voice low and sharp. "Then maybe it is time to choose. Live their fear or live your truth." Her heart pounded in her chest. This was no longer curiosity. It was a battle for her soul. She stared at the device, the red button glowing faintly. If she pressed it, there would be no turning back. She would know the truth fully, and her people's lies, if they were lies, would shatter forever. That night, Liara agreed to a secret meeting. Ethan led her to an empty music hall. The stage lights were dim, the seats empty, but at the center, instruments waited, silent and powerful. Liara trembled as she stepped inside. Her body shook as if the room itself held forbidden power. Ethan whispered, "This is the place where thousands gather to feel music." Liara's breath caught. She imagined the roaring crowd, the endless sound. Her knees weakened, but she forced herself to stand tall. Ethan picked up a guitar and strummed a single note. The sound echoed in the empty hall. L sharp yet pure. Liara gasped, clutching her chest. Her body did not collapse. Instead, the note spread through her veins like fire. Ethan smiled softly. "Do you see? It does not destroy, it awakens." Liara shook her head, trembling. "It cannot be this simple. It cannot." But her voice lacked conviction. Ethan handed her the device. "One song," he said. "Just one. If it breaks you, I will never ask again." The weight of the choice pressed down on her. Her hands shook as she held the device. Her alien markings glowed faintly, as if reacting to the moment. She whispered to herself, "If I do this, I betray my people." But another voice rose inside her, louder. "If I do not, I betray myself." With a trembling breath, she pressed play. The hall filled with sound, soft at first, then rising like a storm. Liara's eyes widened, her body stiffened. She felt her knees weaken as the melody surged, but it did not shatter her. It lifted her. Every note unlocked a flood of emotions she had never known. Her eyes burned with tears, her chest shook with sobs. She clutched the device as if it were life itself. The music rose higher, and she rose with it. Her fear melted, her chains broke. For the first time, Liara felt free. When the song ended, silence filled the hall. But it was no longer the silence she once loved. It was empty, lifeless, hollow. She ripped the headphones off, gasping for breath. Her eyes met Ethan's, glowing with tears and fire. "It did not destroy me," she whispered, voice breaking. "It made me stronger." Ethan's smile was small but proud. "That is the truth your people fear," he said. "They are not afraid of destruction, Liara. They are afraid of freedom." Her chest tightened as his words sank in. Could it be true? Had her people lied for centuries? Had they hidden this power because they could not control it? Liara's hands clenched into fists. Her voice was shaky but fierce. "Then I must know more," she said. "I cannot live in shadows anymore. I will face the truth, no matter what it cost." The stage around her seemed to glow as if answering her vow. The girl who once trembled at sound now demanded it. Her journey was no longer about fear. It was about discovery, rebellion, and power. And somewhere deep inside, Liara knew this was only the beginning. The night in the music hall left Liara shaken but alive. The echoes of the song still vibrated in her chest. She had walked in fearing destruction, but she had walked out carrying fire in her soul. She knew then that her life could never be the same. Her people sent her constant messages, cold words full of warnings and threats. "Stay away from human chaos," the elders commanded. "Do not let their poison reach your mind." But every word they sent only pushed her closer to the truth. Liara whispered to herself, "If this is poison, then why does it heal me?" Days passed, and Liara's hunger for music grew. She no longer feared the sounds of the city. She no longer hid when street performers played. Instead, she stood and listened, her alien eyes shining with wonder. The humans around her began to notice. Whispers spread of the alien girl who loved their songs. Some mocked her, others admired her. But for Liara, it was not about them. It was about the war inside her heart. One evening, Ethan brought her to a gathering of musicians. It was not a concert with flashing lights and roaring crowds. It was a circle of humans holding guitars, drums, and violins. They sat together, sharing songs like stories. Ethan looked at Liara and said, "This is music at its heart. It is not just sound, it is connection." Liara's breath caught. Her people had always feared music because it was uncontrollable. But here she saw its true power. It united strangers. She sat quietly, trembling, as they played. The melodies wrapped around her like a cloak. Her body swayed without permission. Her lips parted without thought, and then tuatibam. Oh, her shock, her own voice joined the sound. It was soft at first, a trembling hum, but it grew stronger, clearer, brighter. The humans turned their eyes to her, astonished. Her alien tones blended with their instruments, creating something new, something that had never existed before. Ethan whispered, "You see, Liara, music does not belong to one species. It belongs to every soul." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, she felt not like an outsider, but like part of something greater. But the moment of joy did not last. The very next day, the Alien Council sent her a direct order. They had learned of her actions. They demanded her immediate return to her homeworld. Her heart froze as she read the message. "Your mind is infected," the elders declared. "You will be taken into silence until the corruption fades." She dropped the message in shock, her hands shaking. She whispered, "They do not want to save me. They want to erase me." Ethan found her in tears. He read the message and clenched his fists. "They fear what you are becoming," he said fiercely. Liara looked up, her voice breaking. "And what am I becoming?" Ethan's eyes burned with certainty. Something they cannot control, something powerful, something free. Her soul trembled as his words sank in. She realized the elders were not only trying to silence her, they were trying to silence the truth itself. If her people discovered that music could heal instead of harm, their entire system of control would collapse. They ruled through fear, through silence, through obedience. But music was rebellion, music was freedom, and Liara now carried that rebellion inside her. That night she returned to the empty music hall. She stood on the stage alone, staring out at the dark seats. She imagined thousands of humans cheering. She imagined her people watching in horror. Her trembling hands lifted a microphone. Her heart thundered. Her voice whispered, "If they call this corruption, then let me be corrupted forever." She pressed play on the device Ethan had given her. The melody rose, fierce and unstoppable. Liara's voice joined it, strong and unbroken. Her song filled the empty hall like a storm. Her alien tones fused with human instruments. The sound was both strange and beautiful. For the first time in history, two species created a harmony together. And as she sang, Liara felt something awaken deep inside her, a strength she never knew existed. Her people had taught her to hide, to fear, to obey, but the music told her to rise, to feel, to fight. Her tears fell freely, but they were no longer tears of fear, they were tears of liberation. When the last note faded, silence returned. But this silence was different. It was not empty, it was not heavy, it was filled with the echo of truth. Liara stood taller than ever before. She whispered, "I am no longer afraid." The council did not wait. Two alien ships arrived in Earth's orbit, black and silent. Their presence sent waves of fear across the human cities. The message was clear. Liara was to be taken, and Earth was to obey. Humans protested, but the alien council was powerful. They declared, "The girl has been infected with corruption. She will return for cleansing." Liara stood on the balcony of the embassy, staring at the dark sky. Her heart pounded as she watched the alien ships hover above. Her people had come not to rescue her, but to erase her. Ethan rushed to her side, his voice urgent. "You cannot go with them, Liara. If you return, they will destroy everything you have become." Tears welled in her eyes. "They are my people, Ethan, my family, my blood. Ethan's jaw tightened. And yet they fear you more than they love you. The next day the aliens landed. The elders stepped forward, their robes glowing with authority. They looked at Liara with cold eyes. One of them spoke, his voice sharp as steel. You are no longer one of us. You have a low. We'd poison into your soul. Liara trembled but stood tall. She whispered, if this is poison, then why does it give me life? The elder's eyes narrowed. Because it tricks you, it blinds you with false feelings, but we will cure you. They reached for her arm, but Ethan stepped between them. She has a choice, he said firmly. The elder's voice thundered. No, she belongs to silence. But Liara's voice rose, strong and unshaken. No, I belong to the song. The crowd of humans gasped. The aliens hissed in anger, their hands glowing with energy. For a moment, it seemed war would break out right there. But Liara raised her voice. Wait. If music is poison, let all hear it and judge for themselves. She lifted the microphone Ethan had given her. Her trembling hands pressed play. The melody began softly, drifting across the air. The humans leaned closer, their eyes wide. Even the alien elders froze as the sound touched them. Liara's voice joined the song, rising with strength. Her alien tones mixed with human rhythm. It was not chaos. It was harmony. It was not destruction. It was creation. The elders staggered back, their faces twisted in shock as the music reached them. One of them clutched his chest, whispering, This is impossible. Another covered his ears, but his body trembled not from pain, but from emotion. Liara stepped forward, her voice fierce. You told us music destroys, but look, does it not awaken you? Her words struck like thunder. The crowd of humans erupted in cheers. Even some younger aliens in the audience stared in awe instead of fear. The elders shouted, Silence her before the corruption spreads. But their voices were drowned by the rising chorus of humans chanting her name. Liara's song soared higher. The sound filled the streets, climbed into the sky, and even those aboard the alien ships above felt it. The vibrations ran through metal and bone alike. For the first time, silence lost its power. One elder fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He whispered, So many years, Soma. Any lies? Others turned away, unable to face the truth. Liara's voice shook with passion. You fear music because you cannot control it, but music is not control, it is freedom. Her alien markings glowed brighter, pulsing with the rhythm. The energy inside her seemed to fuse with the song itself. She was no longer just one girl. She was a bridge between worlds. The performance ended in a wave of silence, but this silence was different. It was full, alive, waiting. The humans cheered wildly, but the aliens stood frozen. The elders whispered among themselves, torn between fear and revelation. Liara lifted her chin and said, You can take me back in chains, but you cannot kill the song. It already lives inside me, and now it lives inside you too. Her words cut deeper than any weapon. The elders retreated, their authority shaken. The crowd erupted in a mix of fear and hope. Something irreversible had begun. Liara had defied her people, but in doing so, she had given them a choice. For the first time in their history, silence was no longer stronger than sound. The alien ships still hovered above Earth, their shadows stretching over the cities. Inside those ships, soldiers waited for orders, their hands ready on weapons. On the ground, the elders trembled with anger and fear. They had come to silence Liara, but instead, they had been shaken by her song. The humans stood strong beside her, refusing to let her be taken. Liara stood at the center of it all, her chest rising and falling. Her body was weak from the power of the song, yet her spirit burned brighter than ever. She had thought she was only one girl caught between two worlds, but now she realized she had become the voice of both. The elder's voice thundered again. This is heresy. Music will tear us apart. But another voice rose from the alien crowd, a young soldier. No, elder, it is you who tear us apart. She said, House us, a truth you have hidden. The crowd gasped. For the first time, one of their own had spoken against the silence. The humans began to chant her name. Liara, Liara, Liara. Their voices merged like waves. The sound grew so strong it reached the ships above. Soldiers inside froze, listening as the chants shook their hearts. It was not just noise, it was power. The elders panicked. They shouted commands, calling for her capture, but the soldiers hesitated, their hands shaking. They had heard the song too, and it still lived inside them. Liara stepped forward, her voice strong. You cannot silence what has already awakened. She raised her arms, and Ethan placed the microphone back in her hands. Her alien markings glowed like fire as she pressed play again. This time the music was not soft, it was fierce, powerful, unstoppable. Drums thundered like the heart of a star. Guitars roared like lightning in the storm. Her voice rose above it all, clear and unbroken. It was the sound of rebellion, but also of unity. The humans cheered, singing with her. And to everyone's shock, some of the younger aliens joined in. Their voices trembled but grew stronger with every note. The sound spread through the city like fire through dry grass. From the streets to the skies, the music could not be stopped. The elders screamed in rage. Silence her, silence them all. But their words were drowned by the rising chorus. Even their own guards stepped back, refusing to obey. Fear lost its hold. Silence lost its chains. Above, the alien ships powered down their weapons. One commander spoke, his voice heavy with awe. We cannot fight this. We feel it too. The elders fell into despair. Their power crumbled before their eyes. They had ruled with fear, but fear was weaker than song. Liara's final note rang out like a blade of light. It cut through the night sky, and for one breathless moment, the entire world stood still. Then the silence returned, but it was no longer the silence of control. It was the silence after a storm, the silence of change. Liara lowered the microphone, her eyes wet with tears. She whispered softly, "Now you know the truth." Ethan placed his hand on her shoulder, his smile proud. "You didn't just hear music tonight, you made history." The humans and aliens looked at one another for the first time, not as enemies or strangers, but as voices in the same song. The elders, broken and powerless, retreated, their silence shattered forever. Liara stood tall, no longer afraid. She had begun as a girl terrified of sound, but now she was a symbol of unity. Her journey had ended not with destruction, but with creation. She had proven that music was more than noise. It was freedom, it was strength, it was life. And as the stars glittered above, Liara knew this was not the end. It was the beginning of a new era, an era where silence no longer ruled, an era where music bound the galaxy together.